Welcome to our program, and thank you for joining us on Going Beyond. My guest today in the studio is someone I've known a long time. Her name is Mary Flory. Now, Mary has developed herself into one of the best-known home chefs in the city, and she's here to tell us all about that. Now, Mary, do you remember when did you first learn to cook? Who taught you?
Well, cooking has been a part of my life always because my mom is my big inspiration around cooking because she was an excellent cook. And so I just watched her growing up and, used to do things together with her. So pretty much been cooking from a young age, but it would be more like I'd be interested to do things that I'd like the special things, not everyday cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like cakes and sweets and stuff like that.
So did mother actually teach you how to do it or what? Or
Well,
did you
in
just
the-
learn from looking at her?
Yeah, a lot from looking at her and, of course, doing together with her as well. Like in the early years, our dining table was a really important place
Okay.
at home. So a lot would happen, like with mom, making all our birthday cakes were made at home, watching her decorate the cakes and then having to do the mixing of the bowl. And we'd get little jobs to do. And as we grew older, we'd get, it progressed and then we were allowed to chop things and stuff like that.
Right.
So it was a lot of doing things together with mom.
Right. Now, you come from a family of 3 sisters. So did all your sisters also develop this interest in cooking?
My oldest sister, Corinne, who lives in the UK, she developed that much later in her life. She was into technology, but sometime later it was a hobby, which then she decided let me do a business from it. And so she's got her own Corinne's Creative Kitchen in the UK where she does catering for and supplies shops and stuff like that.
So this is a family passion, I can see.
I think so, yeah, because food was quite a big part of our home because mom was really, really good. Yeah.
Okay. So you then left India. You went away, I think it was to Australia?
Yes, I went to Melbourne.
Yes.
I moved
So
to Melbourne.
did you do the same home chef business in Australia?
Not as a business initially. It was more seasonal, I would say. So I had a full-time job. I'm like a social worker by profession. So, but what would happen around Christmas time, I would do, the traditional Christmas cake and stuff like that, and the sweets. And then family friends, because of my mom's reputation, they'd want Auntie Daphne's Christmas cake. So I would initially do it as gifts for people close to me, but then the demand got quite a bit. So then I had to really take in orders because each person would want 10 and 12 cakes and stuff like that. So, you couldn't really gift all that away. So around Christmas time, I used to do the traditional sweets for the community. Yeah.
Right. So then when you returned to India, you decided that you needed to go into this full-time whole hog? Yeah.
It's something like that because when I returned, I was trying to think of what I could do, working from home. And this came so easy to me and people were interested. Like I had a friend who has a business and they were interested for their shop to order and stuff like that. So it started in a little way and then it just grew, from that. And yeah.
So, of all the things that you do, so this is a pretty full-time thing. You're saying home,
Yes.
but it really does take up a lot of time, doesn't
It does,
Mary?
yes. And over time, like a lot of corporate orders as well, especially from Diwali to Christmas time. And in the recent past, over the last 3 years, I would say, there's been a lot of for weddings, orders for weddings, for sweets to go out with the invitation or for the wedding day. So it's just grown without much advertising. It's been more word of mouth. And I think the food kind of speaks for itself. The sweets kind of speak for
Right.
themselves. Yeah.
There are quite a lot of people who are doing this
Yeah.
business of being a home chef,
Mm.
but you've kind of created a little niche for yourself. How did you
Yeah.
manage that? You're so young, and how
Well,
did you?
yeah, I think it's about flavors. See, for me, my interest is mostly around the flavors, more than the look is important, but for me, the flavors. So I really zoom in on getting the flavors right, and so I could take something very ordinary and then give it my touch, my little twist to it, and to then bring out the flavor better and the consistency with what you do is very, very important.
Right.
Yeah.
You're talking about flavors, but I have always read that in cooking, it's how it looks, it's your appearance. Isn't that important as well?
The looks are absolutely important, but I
Yeah.
think for me, my packaging, I try to keep it quite simple but elegant because packaging can really, really cost a lot, but I feel the usefulness. I mean, how useful is that at the end of it? So I try to balance the packaging with the product, depending what the product is.
Right.
So
Well, I've tasted your stuff and it's super.
thank you.
But I just wondered what kind of feedback and what kind of a reaction do you get from people?
Oh, it's the feedback is really, really good. And I mean, some feedbacks have been. I remember once doing because some of the stuff goes interstate as well, and I remember this one time I had this call. This person had heard about my Christmas cake in Coimbatore, and he ordered this and this cake for his dad who was close to 90, and he left a voice message on my phone, which was so amazing. It was so touching about how he said he had not seen his dad, smile. He didn't have much interaction with his dad. His dad's
Yeah.
health was such that there was not a lot of interaction. And he had given his dad had asked for Christmas cake, and he had given his dad about four different ones. And and when his dad had my cake, apparently he smiled and said, "This is proper Christmas cake,"
How
So like,
lovely.
and when people leave you voice messages like that, it's quite inspiring. Like to keep with what you do, and you then know you're on the right track as well.
Right.
So, but I have a lot of regular customers as well. I do a lot for the senior citizens because of their dietary needs.
Mm.
They just come back all the time because they say the quality is good, the consistency is there. It's not, it's not spicy for the savory stuff. It's not spicy at the same time. The flavors are good. So yeah, a lot of my focus is on the
Right.
flavors and
But you'd also do very large quantities of stuff.
I
And I'm
do.
just wondering how you cope. I know you do 1,000 boxes of this and
I
500
do.
boxes of
Yes.
this. How do you handle that?
Well, I think with that, my husband's support is also really important because I'm working from home. So I have two or three people who help with packaging, so I get support around the packaging. Yeah, and I have now over time good contact with from the people I purchase stuff. So that relationship is there, has built over the years. So but the production I do entirely because it's very difficult to maintain the consistency and quality if you don't do the production yourself. So my focus would be on that. And then I get the support with the packaging. But my husband's really good at supervising that whole aspect of it.
Right. Now, after having lived abroad for so many years, do you find that now that you've come back home, are you able to get all the ingredients that you need? There are so many things we don't get in
Yeah,
India. So have
yeah.
you been able to do that, or are you
Over
importing
time,
it,
yes, over
sourcing
time
it?
I've managed. Like I remember the first time, when I did the big quantity of Christmas cake here, it was really tough. There was a little bit of sand in the fruit. So, when you're talking like 15, 25, like 25 kilos of fruit, washing it, airing it out in the sun, and thing, it's a lot of work. But over time now, you find the right people to buy your products from, where the quality is good and it's reasonable. So it takes that time to study the market, to know where you can get. But we do get most of the stuff in India.
Yeah.
And I think some things are regional as well. If you were living in Bangalore, so when the weather is better, so then certain things around like cooking savory food and the vegetables and all, you do have a better choice.
Right.
But having said that, over time, you build your relationships with suppliers as well. So they go all out to help you.
Is it?
Yeah, over time, you've built that relationship, and when you're good, you're good with them as well. They always make the effort to get you what you need. Yeah.
Right. You said that you send stuff interstate,
Yes.
but what about outside of India? Have you had a lot of that?
I've had a lot of clients order stuff and carry it out
Oh.
of India.
Mhm.
But within India, I've done I've had people actually order stuff for the wedding and stuff like that, and then they come and pick it up. Like sometimes I've had people like pick up stuff by a truck and take it themselves to Bangalore. And one time there was an order for a wedding in Hyderabad, and they would come home to ensure that the packaging is correct. So the whole packaging part, they would come and do it themselves so that it was absolutely perfect to travel. So it's a relationship with your client as well. It's not just the suppliers.
Right.
So depending on the need, you work out what would work best for this, and then you just go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
Mary, I'm not asking you to give me a figure, okay? But how does this business work monetarily?
It's very competitive, but I'm very conscious of things being affordable, and that I'm very also like my products to be available for everyone, so that's so it depends on on you and what your priority is and what you're looking for in it. So for me, I look for the outreach, not in terms of number, but in terms of your product being affordable for the average person. Um, so monetarily, yeah, it depends on the product, and you do make your profit. You do make your profits, but it's about you can price it better if you want, and I just make that choice on like the product being affordable to people. There will be exclusive products which you do, like wedding cakes and stuff like that. Then that's another level altogether. So it depends on what it is.
So when you're actually going in for an order,
Yes.
people come into you first, and then do they then discuss how much it's going to cost, what's going to be? Is that the way the business works?
Absolutely. No, certain things there are clear prices on, and some of it is they want it customized. So when they want it customized, then we have to go down that path of how would it work out? And then, the whole things around also what would it cost to transport it? And how practical is it transporting it, depending on where the product is. So you have to look into all of that thing. There are standard prices for everything, but then you customize it according to the need of the occasion or the person.
Right. So did you find it easy to actually set up this business, Mary? It must have been a bit of a hard climb initially.
Well, it just kind of came natural, I guess, because
How nice.
you've just seen, I've seen my mom do it, and my mom used to make amazing pickles and, sweets and all of it. So it kind of just has grown. There were times it's been like, there were times in the initial days you'd probably like, every room would have stuff like, like packaging stuff and all that. But over time, you learn to contain things and to put like to systemize everything. So that comes with time. Yeah, in the initial days, it's like anybody who grows a business, right? It's chaotic. Like it's the whole house, it's the whole family. My sister-in-laws would help, the maids. It would be the whole family involved in the initial day. My brother-in-law, everybody used to be involved with the whole packaging part. And over time, you learn to streamline it because time is important. So time is important. So that's why you need to learn to streamline things so that everybody's allocated a job, it's getting done, and everyone knows their job.
You're still the boss.
Yes.
Now, you talked about the fact that it's just by word of mouth. Do you not believe that if you actually advertised, it could take the business up another rung or two?
It definitely could, and it would. But I've been really lucky because the kind of customers I've had, like the corporate customers I've had, has given me tremendous outreach because they order like over 2,000 boxes and stuff like that. So that's like 2,000 families in Chennai receiving your product. So that in itself has been. You got to remember you're a home chef, and for me it's about containing it. You got to decide how much you want to grow this and where do you want to stand with it. And so I keep that. I'm very conscious of that as well, because you have to think of how it impacts people in the home as well and the family. So it's a lot of factors to consider, because when it grows beyond a point, it has to move out of the home.
And you don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that at this stage in my life. No.
Right. Now, amongst all the things that you actually produce, what's your special favorite? What's yours? Is it sweets? Is it savories? Is it dinners? Is it,
So I do in terms of, I think the most popular product of mine is the choco caramel slice and the honey almond crunch. So they are, I think, because one is they're exclusive sweets, not readily available in the shop. And the other thing is also it's got a decent shelf life and the flavor's good. So those are the most popular. Then in terms of the savory, so my regular customers who do weekly orders and stuff like that, it's lots of salads, soups, things like quiche, quiches, and then I do a lot of parties for 6 and 10 and 15, small numbers. So then you do a starter, a main meal, and a dessert. So with desserts, I find things like trifle puddings. Puddings are quite popular because I think you can't really pick up a pudding. You can pick up ice cream, sweets, a lot of things, but like you don't get a lot of puddings and stuff like that. So I find those kind of things are quite popular with my clients.
Right. Uh, do you have more orders? You did say popular, but is it that sweets and stuff like that go much better than like a full course meal? Is that
Definitely the
better?
sweets. Definitely the sweets, because also I find with sweet, it's the whole. It's right from the child to the adult, the age group as well. It's the people as well, everyone. It's something that is with everyone. Whereas with food, I find it quite customized. Like, so I have people who come back because they just they're quite particular about flavors. So that's one of the reasons I find that a lot with the savory food. Um, a lot has to do with people's level of spice, and how greasy the food is and all of that. So you'll find that it's a bit different with the
Right.
savory food.
Right. So, from your experience, which is it that you prefer to do, Mary? The sweets, the cakes, I don't know, my mouth's beginning
Yeah.
to water now.
I enjoy everything. I'd say the sweets is the bread and butter of the business.
Really?
Okay. But you get less orders with party food. It's not an everyday thing, and I wouldn't be doing it every day because it gets tedious,
And there's a
right?
lot of work
It's
in
a lot
that,
of
isn't
work.
it?
It's a lot of work.
Mm.
With the other thing, I thoroughly enjoy doing, like salads, sweets. I mean salads, and all the savory stuff, like bread rolls, cutlets, like the whole thing. Quiches. Quiches are very popular, and also like shepherd's pie. People like that kind of food. So yeah, cheese bakes, pan rolls, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But has it ever occurred to you that you could actually have a shop in which everything that you make is there on display? I can walk in, buy what I want, and walk out. Is that not a good way to kind
I,
of
I
develop?
think it's probably something to really think about, and it is. It is. Many people have asked me that, even to open a cafe, and the only thing that has so far. I've had to, kept it on hold is because it's the time factor. You do something like that, then it's a lot more of your time out of the home and things like that. So, but it's something definitely to think about. It would be very rewarding. It would be very rewarding in a lot of ways. Yeah,
But it's pretty full time, isn't it?
it's pretty full time.
Right.
It's
So
pretty
when
full
you
time.
do, say you do a dinner order,
Yeah.
okay, and this is the home chef. So do you actually appear at the place where you've sent the food, or is that
No,
not a way
no,
to go?
no. I even serve it in my own dishes, like, so they just need to put it on the table, and so it's all ready. It depends what, if takeaway containers, depending on the need, but quite often I use really good glassware, like for functions and stuff like that. So, and like sometimes I've had like orders for concerts, the practice session of concerts, the evening teas and stuff like that. So all of those things, I just use my own trays, my own glassware and stuff. So that it's easy for them to just lay it out for
Yeah.
them, and then I just have it collected back
Right.
later.
So when you first began your home chef business, uh, do you remember who your first client was?
Yes, my first client was 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's, yeah,
Okay.
and they've been my consistent. We've had quite a good working relationship over time. Yeah.
But I guess that all of your clients have to actually come, and do they come out and try it first? Do they take a sample?
The
How do I
corporates,
know what
yes,
I'm going to
yes.
get,
The
Mary?
corporates, you give a sample, but I also, like, I don't give a wide range of sample. Yeah, that's when you have the discussion on, okay, what are you looking for? And corporates would often tell you, we're looking for shelf life, we're looking for stuff with nuts, we're looking, they will give you their brief. So then I'd work on it, and then get back to them. So I've learned over time is, in the early days, and when you don't have the experience, you would do 5 different samples. Like, so now you've learned to really hear what they're saying, and then cue it in. So then you don't confuse them too as well. So you either, give them one really good product, try this, or you give them a choice of 2, maximum 3. And that makes things a lot easier. as well. Yeah.
Right. Do people actually like the sweets more? Because we've got so many beautiful Indian sweets and things
Yes.
like that, which are quite popular, really. Or is this just that this is different?
I think it's because it's different, it's popular. It's yeah, because I'm just I think I can clearly say that with the amount of interstate orders I get. And like like even recently I've had a person, pick up like 30 boxes to take to the US. So there must be something about it. It's not just, the flavor must be different. It's a unique product which is not just bought off the shelf in a shop. It's distinctly homemade. I think that makes a difference.
Right. So, how much of your time, physical time, is spent in the kitchen on your food? A lot?
So it
All the time?
depends. It depends. So there'll be phases, right? So you from Diwali to Christmas, it's all the time, and then there'll be other phases. Like say today I have a delivery of 80 boxes of sweets for a function.
And you've worked
So
overnight on it
yes,
to be here.
so I could be here with you.
Mm.
So you'll have a busy day. So it depends on a week. You'll have about 3 or 4. I try to balance it where it's about 3 to 4 busy days in the week, and then you have time for yourself as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Next question, you've taken it from me. Do you ever get a break? Do you ever take a holiday?
Yes.
Do you ever take 1 month off? I can't do it.
Yes, I do. Over time, you learn to do that. So my husband and me do a overseas trip somewhere together once a year, and yeah, I plan my own trips as well. Like this year, I'm visiting my sisters in the UK. So yeah, we do make time. You have to make that time because you do, or otherwise like short trips to just locally. But it's very important to make that time because you need to sometimes just do nothing and have other people do things for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm. So, is it possible that you could actually make your toffees and sweets and chocolate stuff and things like that and actually tuck it away, and then if somebody orders it, give it to them, or
Yes,
no?
that's possible.
You do
Certain
that?
products you can. Yes, certain products you can definitely do that. Not all of them. So, yeah. So I do that sometimes because certain seasons are going, certain times are going to be really
Mm.
busy. So you do prep that in advance. You do a certain amount of prepping in advance.
Can
Yeah.
I be inquisitive and ask you, how many total customers have you got? Have you got a record? Do you know how
I
many?
don't really have a record, but I'll have over 100 customers, 200. Yeah, by now, quite a lot of customers. Yeah.
Do you find, Mary, that sometimes it gets too much for you? Does it, is it overpowering?
There will be days during Diwali to Christmas where you would, it's occasionally, some days are like that, but it's, there is a certain joy and that sense of achievement when it's done and you look at it and that cake is looking like especially because all my learning is self-learned and it's home. Like I've not done any formal training. I've said, I'm a social worker by profession. I've done a little merchandising, but all of this is all self-taught. So when you see yourself turn that out and the customer gives you this absolute amazing feedback, nothing could be better. It's just makes your day. It really is. It
Right.
really does.
What
Yeah.
about other events? Have you ever pursued in that direction? Have you ever gone in that direction?
No, I've catered for events, but I've not really had an event or any of that.
What's the maximum number of boxes you could produce or cater for?
I think the biggest orders I've had in terms of number of boxes would be 2,200 boxes from one customer. So that's the kind of number.
That's so many, Mary. Don't
Yes.
you get tired of doing it? Isn't it repetitive for somebody like
See,
you?
when you're doing a big number like that, it helps that it's one product.
Oh.
So because then you can really get streamlined and from the first day of production, by the time you're done, everything really gets better and better and better, and you just over time, like I said, my husband helps with the packaging, so just kind of you have the cycle happening at home and things just flow. So it's probably the first and second day where you need to really establish that process well and oversee it, and then it's fine.
Would it not be better for you to actually have a team of people? I know you said a
Mm.
couple of, maybe 2 assistants or something, but it wouldn't help.
It definitely would help. When you're working from home, there are periods when it's really busy, but there'll be periods when it's down.
Mm.
And so you have to have access to that labor as and when you need it. So, but of course, I have to say over time, it's pretty much you need it all the time. So it's a question then of deciding how many you want to have, whether you have 3 people all the time, one, that kind of a thing.
Is it more difficult for you to handle it when other people have their finger in the pie, as it were?
Sometimes it can actually, because people tend to work in isolation. If this is my job, then they don't look at the whole picture, So then, like say the end product, the box at the end of it could have a lot of fingerprints, which means like then, each box being wiped out and wiped. And when you're looking at 2,200, that's
a
a
lot.
lot of work.
That's a lot.
So it's very important to streamline that and for people to get a holistic understanding. So all people in the team have a holistic understanding of the entire process,
Of the quality that you expect.
And I'm very, very particular on that,
What about criticism? Have you faced any of that?
Occasionally you do get, sometimes people can, I've had, to be honest, I've not had a lot of that experience, but sometimes I find more people tend to, there's a lot of negotiation on pricing. You tend to find that more than in terms of, but I'm also very open to feedback, and I think that's something clients appreciate. So if they gave me a feedback that, this could be better, they'll often say this was good, but if you did this, it will enhance it, like, we'd like it better. So I do take that feedback. So I think that's why over time I've just kept improving.
Yes, that's true, Mary. I believe that criticism is very important for any of us, for all of us, really.
That's something I'm not defensive about.
Okay.
When any client gives me feedback, it's taken objectively and I work on it and I improve.
Obviously, that's probably one of the reasons for your success in this business.
Yeah.
If you can actually improve on things that you start on.
And over time, you know your customer. So I do know the same product, like whether you say it's like a quiche, right? I know this client won't want chili flakes in it. That client, you can, add a little bit. You tend to learn their flavors, because they're your regular customers. So it's the same product, but you can customize it for each one. So over time, that's something you do. And that's based on the feedback they give you, Some people like extra cheese. Some people, get reflux, so they don't want so much cheese.
Right.
So you have to go with, you pick up along the way. So quite often you have a standard product, okay, and that is repetitive, the same flavor, but then you're able to customize it for your regular customers.
Well, you're obviously a great success, and it's been wonderful to have you in the studio today.
Jennifer.
My mouth is watering, but I need to let you get back to your chocolates and your food and your catering. And it's been my pleasure to have you here.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Mary.
Thank
I really appreciate you coming here. Well, it's been real fun to have Mary here in our studio, and I hope that you've enjoyed listening to us. Don't forget, every weekend, Going Beyond, Sunday nights. Bye for now.